Hello, everyone. My name is Rafael. Welcome to the channel. And here today, I'm with Dave to discuss and talk and share our grief about guitars and our joys as well. We have been talking a lot about these bold guitar kits and everything upgrading, modding, buying, selling, playing, even sometimes about guitar. But Dave, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm Dave. There's normally a Dave in the room, and this is the one. Rafa and I have been chatting quite a lot, particularly just lately. And 9 times out of 10, it's on guitars. Um, Rafa just invited me to come along, and thought I'd come and have a chat.
Yeah, it's great. It's funny because how we met is a bit of a. It's not odd, but it's
Actually,
not
guitar
maybe.
related.
It is. That's so there was a guy that bought an amp from me, and then later on, I started conversations with him, Tony, right? And then he told me that he was going to go to this guitar convention that I've actually hadn't been to any guitar convention around. So we traveled, I don't know, 2 hours to get there, and there you were, because you worked with Tony at some point, right?
Yeah, I worked with Tony for a number of years. Tony's one of my really good friends.
So yeah, and we talked a bit about guitars, and we saw some of those guitars, and then on and off on a WhatsApp group, we've been sharing things about guitar, and then more recently, I think it really starts because you were so kind as to lend me your Jazz Master, your Squire, that I had here on the channel and made a review about, and one thing led to the other, as people say, and now we are here, guitar friends, like I've heard said on the internet.
Absolutely.
Just want to say hi to Steve because he's the only
Hey,
person.
Steve.
He must have like loads of free time. He can make videos. He is on lives. He teaches guitar. He gigs.
I
You
might
know,
need to speak to him. My,
I
my
think the
guitar
trick is
playing
not
isn't
having
great.
kids. The trick is not.
Yeah, I was rubbish before I had the kids, so in fairness.
Same, but yeah, I think he might be the man to contact regarding that. Like guitar
Absolutely.
lessons is such an important thing that it's one of those that every time that I spend money on improving playing with lessons face to face or over the internet, I always feel an improvement, but it's the first thing that I stop anytime that money gets tight.
Yeah, and I think having the right tutor as well. I, I struggled to find one in my local town, so I was traveling to one, and in the summer that was great because it got me, a nice
Out of the house.
clear the head, have a drive, have a lesson, come back. But yeah, it's same. It's like as soon as money gets tight or time gets tight or whatever, that is something that drops.
Yeah.
But definitely, it's something that it's on my to-do list for 2024. So Steve, if you're the man, then we'll be talking.
That's it. I had lessons. I had guitar lessons a couple of years ago online, and then this last year I had singing lessons. But both instances were from musicians from Brazil because they also speak Portuguese like me.
Mhm.
So and the exchange rate is favorable to the pound, so it's better suited to have lessons from there. And it's great, Matteo Sasato. I don't know if you know him. He makes those like finger picking pieces of art playing guitar. He's played with a
Okay.
bunch of famous musicians, and he's been referred by like Steve Vai and everything. He's on the G7s or whatever it's called, the guitar summits that they do. And the guitarist that was from Megadeth, Kiko Loureiro, is also from Brazil. So they like have a massive history of playing music, and it's like it's just online works because especially for us that we're not starting out, so it's not like, oh, put your hands, mute, don't mute all the strings,
Yeah.
just put, all that bit is already over. It's more exercises and sounds and timing, and all of that can be done over screen. Now, Steve,
So
since you're here
no, it's fine.
watching, Let me just ask: is it better like as we are, like this, or like this? Let's give it a moment. But sorry, you're gonna say.
I was just going to say, firstly, on the lessons thing, as much as I haven't had lessons in some time, as you know, my oldest is a classical pianist, very talented.
Yes.
He has lessons, and that definitely helps him. I was going to ask because we were talking about musician. Now, pick your own learning platform, but he was getting quite snobby about musician and said it doesn't teach technique, and I wouldn't disagree necessarily with that. But I'm just wondering your experience around using these platforms.
Well, I have used pickup music for a while, and the thing that they do, for example, they don't teach the pentatonic scale in every position
Mhm.
for hours on end. It's like, here is things that you can do in this position, and then if you want, go check it out. But they have paths, so you start with something simple, it gets more and more complicated, and at the end of each grade in that path, you send a video, and then they critique your video. They're always very nice. They're always very chill. They're like, California, everything's all right. Or I don't know where they're based, but it sounds like the American. Very positive. Well done. Thank you so much for submitting. It sounded great. Also, you're playing out of time and not the right notes.
Right notes, just in the wrong order.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Probably that. No, it's helpful, and for me, it helps when I stick to it of getting a little bit done every day. And on the other hand, having the feedback, it's encouraging on one hand, but it gives me something to work on. Uh, so that's the only one that I've actually stuck to, and I've kept the subscription in place, because the other ones, like, what's it called, True Fire.
Not come across that one.
True Fire is as well a big one, that you have a bunch of courses, but there is no feedback. So you might be
Yeah,
thinking, oh, I'm playing so well, but there's no one to tell you that you actually, again, playing softly, or not all the notes are being clear and with the intent that it's supposed to be. I think, like, music teachers, and it's a bit like a PT for the gym. It forces you to practice and to be
yeah,
present and to continue to do it, and it can guide you in the right direction, rather than like, open the book and read you all the theory and everything, because we can do that at home if you want to.
yeah. That's fair. And that was one of the reasons actually that I stopped lessons. I was finding that I wasn't finding time between lessons to practice, um, and so it was less useful. But yeah, definitely something to focus on for the next 12 months or so.
Steve is saying here that the one size fits all lessons only really works for the first 2 to 4 lessons, in my opinion. I love learning apps and courses, but you need instant feedback on your form, and
Yes.
you need also to ask you your goals and aspirations from lesson one. Yeah, that's tricky though, because, for example, if I was to ask you, Dave, what are your aspirations and goals, what would you answer?
That is a very good question.
It isn't.
I mean, yeah, I at the moment I just noodle. And you've seen I won't play in front of anyone that's not my family. Um, and so I think having a plan is what I'm looking for, and whether that's through a course, whether it's through a tutor, etc. And I definitely feel that a tutor is the right method if you can find the right
Yeah.
one. Um, so what would I like to be able to do? Some of it I can work on myself, which is things like I never play along to the record, anything like that. So literally it's just, oh, that sounds quite nice. So being able to do that, I mean, actually, and I've never said it before, I actually would like to be able to gig. Not that I necessarily would,
Hmm.
very regularly, but I'd like to be able to go along to an open mic or whatever.
And have something
Yeah,
prepared that you could play, even if it was like instrumental
yeah,
or.
and and on the flip side, being able to I've forgotten the word, but freestyle effectively,
Improvise.
improvise is the word I was looking for. Yeah, being able to improvise better is certainly something that I'd like. Oh,
Yeah.
example aspirations. You sound like my sort of tutor already, Steve. Um, I am a slow reader, so yeah, I want to play campfire songs. Yeah, that's all fair.
I want to be a tree.
So
That's what I aspire to be, the tree.
yeah,
Uh, one with
um,
the wood.
I would like to be someone who can play guitar as well as it looks like I can, based on all the guitars that I've built behind me. Um,
Match
people
the
assume that I'm really good, but I'm really not.
well, it's building guitars
It's
is a skill
relative.
on it itself, and then
Yeah,
playing guitar is a different skill. So
yeah,
uh, both are required. It's I always struggle with that question of what you want to do because first I skip from one thing to the other according to what my mood is. Uh,
yeah,
I'm afraid of asking for goals that seem too far off, or that in my head sound like they're going to be a lot of work. Like um, sometimes see pieces from guys playing solo, which is just playing the melody, the harmony and the melody of something on electric guitar, like figure picking styles. I think, oh, that's really cool. That will be really nice because again, I could go to an open mic and play that, or when someone asks you, oh, play something, you could play that.
yeah, yeah.
I wanted to ask, do you sing?
I'm
Would
going
you
to tell you a
sing?
story now, and it's as if I've planted that, and I really haven't. So within lockdown, so I, as a child, I won awards for my singing,
Oh
etc.
wow,
I would sing very regularly as an adult. I felt that I had the quality of voice that when I was singing loudly with the windows open, I was giving the neighbours a treat, like that
wow.
level. Um, I then during lockdown recorded myself, and it was like one of those moments like you see on X Factor that you can't believe that someone doesn't know how bad they are. And I listened to it back, and honestly, I was devastated for about 3 weeks. I
Yeah, I
I
can
can't
imagine.
sing, and I'd say like to my wife, I'm really gutted. I don't know why I'm so gutted, and she's like, it's not news to us. Um, so yeah,
So
uh, but then when you rephrase the question of, do you like it when I sing?
yeah.
They absolutely do, because it generally means that I'm happy, and a little bit more relaxed. So yeah, I'm certainly a passionate singer, but not of any quality that anyone would enjoy seeing.
Well. What I've learned, not being a great singer myself, is there's always room for improvement, and if you have a notion of pitch, there's definitely ways to go about having more range, being more comfortable singing. Uh, it's like singing is like playing guitar in the sense that in order to get it right, it
I
needs
can't do it.
practice. Uh, the only annoying thing about all of this talking about singing is that there's people that just out of the blue, or like you said, even yourself, like maybe when you were
Yeah,
younger, it was much easier to either memorize or be able to expel what was the sound in your head. And the reason why I was asking that is because if you're going to be singing and playing, is I think it might be a different sort of playing than someone that is just playing
yeah,
guitar. Um, but I can sing. Everyone can sing. It might not be just like finding the right songs.
yeah.
Yeah, it says that 6-year-old Michael Jackson is an anomaly. Yes, but he had the drive of his dad, not even his own drive. His dad was driving him to sing so pitch perfect.
Yeah.
Uh,
But give me a few drinks and a karaoke machine.
there you go. Next
I'm
time
up
you're
there.
back in Blackpool, we'll have to try that.
I'm
We'll go
up
to the show.
tomorrow actually.
So
But yeah,
we know places. I know places.
me too.
Uh, better musician, improve my expression. Yes, Yes, basically. Because on one hand, like when I'm playing live with Peter in our band, which is a duo of guitar and drums, and I have the guitar doing a reverse royal blood, which is getting the low strings to go for a bass rig on the helix. Um, I'm playing really simple chords, like power chords and maybe a few riffs, but nothing really complicated. And I feel like that's not really exciting
But
because
why does that matter? So this is something that I've thought about quite a bit just lately. Um, I realized that so many songs that I enjoy the melody, I enjoy the lyrics, etc., etc. When you actually take it down to the base, they're quite simple.
yeah,
Um, so does it matter if it's actually technically very hard?
no, but my
I,
ego.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I think sometimes you'll play a little something that you know a renowned guitarist that is quite technical. You try it, and sometimes you're miles off. Other times it's like, oh, okay. As much as I can't do it like they can, it's not as hard as you might think. And yeah, I understand. As musicians, we want to be better at what we do.
Yeah,
I'm
that's the
trying to
thing.
come to terms with at the moment the fact that actually it doesn't matter as much. Or that's my thinking.
It's tricky because I think it's not that it matters or not matters. It's well, in part it is, but I like to think that if I had more ability, I wasn't what I played wasn't limited by my ability, but what I played was because I wanted to play that. And I could always play more if I wanted to, but I chose instead of I'm playing this because it's the only thing that I know how to play.
Yeah,
And in this circumstance, I don't have the creativity to come up with parts that are any more complex than this. Although I think I've done some adaptations that are in the middle, so it's not like the records, but it's not just strumming the chords that Ultimate Guitar tells us to. Uh, I can't. I was trying to open here my YouTube or the YouTube to see how many people are watching because at the moment I think that is just Steve. Which there's nothing wrong with that. Again, there's this test for posterity, and it's better to have Steve than to have no one. Um, he mentions that Joe Jackson obviously drove all the kids, and Michael was indeed special. Janet had misfortunes with Justin Timberlake and got blamed for something that Justin Timberlake did, which is a whole documentary that I watched on YouTube, and it's like how this happened. Um, I had a conversation before with Steve about as well having lessons with him, and he said, "Oh, but you served the song really well," and it's like, okay, I'll take that. I think, and it actually put me in a good mood when he sent me the email because I thought, okay, I might not be shredding on every soul that I have an opportunity to, or doing the Hendrix thing on all chord progressions, but I'm being competent at what I'm doing. Um, and then he says, as you progress on your instrument, you appreciate things on different levels, not always for the better. Would you like to elaborate on that, though? I'm not sure if I understand. Do you understand what he means, Dave?
I think without putting words into Steve's mouth, I think as you improve as a musician, um, not that I'd know, you do start to, as I say, like when I was talking about the fact that when you learn a bit more about the song, you can appreciate things like simplicity, things like whether it's palm muting or light and shade, things like that
Mm,
can be really impactful as you learn more. And again, my son, when he plays piano, he one of his favorite composers is a chap called Einaudi, and he tells me that Einaudi stuff is actually really, really simple. Almost like the Green Day of piano, as it
Mm.
turns out. It sounds beautiful.
Well, like Green Day.
Which, yeah, that's where the similarity perhaps ends. But yeah, and it is about that lightness, darkness, all that stuff. But yeah, it's not technically difficult. I can't do it. But yeah, they're seen as very simple.
Yeah. All right.
And as I
Interesting.
say, you wouldn't know as a non-musician
Yeah.
or a non-pianist, you wouldn't perhaps know.
And that's very true in the sense that, although, for example, if you go to an open mic, you're playing to other musicians, which is always a bit nerve-wracking in
Yeah,
my opinion. And even
agree.
in that regards, to get a perspective of what is gigging, maybe it's not the best place to start, but I don't know any other way to do it. But when you are playing as entertainment, you are playing to non-musicians, that they will appreciate the songs for what they are and how they sound. If they sound sort of complete, if they were being very complex and things that are hard to understand, I think that's why often classic music is not appreciated as much, because it gets to a point that it's so complex, so many things happening. It's like, what's the plot here? Or jazz, or
Yeah,
those sort of prog rock. For me, for example, I haven't really gotten into it because I don't understand. It doesn't have those like four chords that I feel comfortable within.
absolutely. So I went to my son's winter concert the other week, and there's a young man that was there who's renowned to be absolutely brilliant. Clearly has a big future in music. I hated the music that he was playing because I just didn't like that music. It was,
Yeah,
technically, I'm sure, brilliant. Um, but again, to a non-pianist, that's not always appreciated.
yeah, yeah. See, in my younger years, I only cared about being appreciated by other musicians, guitarists, and I was
I
wrong.
think that's spot on.
Yeah, yeah. But I think we all do that in a
I don't
sense.
think you
Even
believe it.
that he believes it, that he was wrong, or that I
No,
believe it, that it's wrong.
I think you still would like to impress musicians, whereas I know I'm never going to.
I would like to. It's like, I don't know. It's the feeling of, oh, other people acknowledge me as being good, which, to be. I don't want to be big headed about this. I think I have. I think I am. Like, I walk in the room of the open mics with loads of different musicians, and they all regard me as being a peer. And it's like, oh, you're amazing, you're great, you're awesome. It's like, it's not like I'm trying to play it down. I find it hard to believe that what they're saying is actually true, because like we have the kids
Yeah,
that are in the College of Music, so they're learning music every day. That's what they're studying, and they see their teachers and everything. And then you have, like, there's this guy that has a bunch of music recorded and published on Spotify. There's this 14-year-old girl that that showed up a couple of months ago. That her father is a musician and has helped her produce original songs that are like Olivia Rodrigo sort of levels of production and quality. And this girl sings like perfect, in my opinion. And they go like, "Oh, you're so good! I really like enjoy your originals in their Portuguese songs." And like, sure, sure you do. But
yeah. I
comparisons.
think,
Yeah.
yeah, definitely agree with that. In fact, Life Balance Ninja, my blog does have a blog about that specifically, which was written by a friend of mine. Um,
Oh.
but the whole imposter syndrome thing, I think really can spoil stuff. Like I've said to you, my kids are massive fans of you musically.
Oh.
Yeah, as a person, um, but they love when we come over and you're showing me up and they say, Dad, you looked really jealous. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to figure out what he's doing. Um, so
No, that's
yeah,
thank you.
it's all relative as well.
It is. It is.
Yeah.
It is like, this last Thursday, we went to the Yellow Submarine, which is that bar
Oh yeah,
in near the
looks
front.
good.
yeah, and there was the open mic going. There was no one really playing, so me and Peter went up and we played, and everyone was having a really good time. And we were just like practicing songs that we already had practiced. So there's that element of having things in the back pocket to show. And the previous week we went to a jam night that there was no one there. There was like two bar staff and two other guys, and they really enjoyed the songs that we played. So definitely there's appreciation to be had, but then again, it's always the comparison. And what I was going to segue into is the gear aspect of it. Like, I think partially Facebook groups and Instagram and YouTube and forums and everything, either voluntarily or with that same intent of promoting gear, or subconsciously, we all in this like hamster wheel of showing, like, I like to take pictures of my guitars and putting them up. Like my Instagram, 50% of that is that, um because I think like it sort of showcases my personality and the choices that I've made. But by doing that, maybe it's like I'm making other people think, oh, I should get this or I should get that. So it gets this thing of getting and getting more gear. But I don't like that. The more that I think about it, the less I like it, because it means that we're not enjoying I'm not enjoying what I have, because I'm looking always for the next thing. I don't know. How do you feel about this constant
Yeah,
search?
good old guitar acquisition syndrome. I think, in all honesty, I am the owner of 20 plus guitars. I don't even know how many. My kids count them and tell me.
They're preparing for the
And
inheritance.
well, or just saying it loudly in front of their mum. So I think, we're going to move on to the Bolt shortly. The whole thing about the Bolt for me was, yes, experiencing a higher end kit, but actually I wanted a quality telly. And what I find is that is an everything guitar for me.
Hmm.
And I am very much feeling like I'd like to thin the collection a little bit, and I've started a little bit, because I find the more that I play, the less I care about the gear quite so much. And we will actually move on to onto that shortly as well. But then I've got to balance that against the fact that I'm probably actually more of a builder than a player.
Hmm.
And actually making the guitars is something that I get a lot of enjoyment. I find it meditative, etc. Um,
It's the Lego paradigm of building it is like 80% of the experience.
you should see how much Lego I've got. And I've kind of moved on from the Lego to the guitars. It feels like that's the progression that I've made. And there's a lot to be said for that. Um, but I've sold a couple that I've made.
Correct.
But yeah, I'm not at that level that I feel comfortable selling them sort of on the open market. I've sold them to friends for donations
Yeah.
to charities at this point.
Cool.
Um,
That's cool.
and yeah, so it's that balance between um, having stuff that just works and you can use them for your craft, um, and actually the enjoy in making them. And you can look at other musicians as well. We've talked about pianists, I guess drummers, and probably saxophonists, etc. I wouldn't imagine they have as many instruments, particularly pianists.
No, no, I don't
Um,
think so. Or like cellists or
yeah,
violin players, because like first the prices are prohibitive. But I think like keyboard players apparently have loads of keyboards for different sounds and
fair.
stuff.
Yeah, although you can get all different voices, etc. these days for them,
Same as
but
guitars.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I do wonder if it's something that is not
Quite
not
unique
unique
to.
to guitars, but certainly more prominent.
I think so. I think because it's such a popular instrument that it attracts a wide breadth of individuals
Yeah.
that like music, and you can get the basics down, and then once you get the basics down, you sort of start on this search. And I was like that. I am still like that in many regards. But it's like you say, the more that you become a player, I feel, the less it becomes about tweaking and playing with the guitar itself. I just want to say hi to Hazel. Thank you so much
Hello.
for saying hello. Um, because there's something to be said about having an instrument that doesn't get in the way, and when you pick it up, you play it instead of, oh, the nut needs a bit of adjustment here. Maybe I could just like maybe swap this bridge for something else, or uh, you know, like for example, before I take the bolt out, this one. When I picked this guitar and I played, and I've taken to a couple of times, but you know what I've done to this guitar. I've like painted it, and then I took it off, and then I painted it again, and then I took it off some bits, and then I put it on again, and then I reliced it again, and then I changed the tuners, and I feel like the tuners are still not the right fit because they're really bad. Don't buy 10-pound tuners from AliExpress. I should know better, but so there's always something to fix, the pickups and the electronics and the wiring and everything. So I still enjoy playing it, but if I was to go, okay, I'm gonna have a lesson now, I'll pick up something else from the wall, something that I know that works. If I need to do a proper
Absolutely.
gig, I'll take something that I know has really good tuning stability and is not gonna let me down.
Yeah,
Um,
and I would liken that. So, as you know, I'm a professional geek, and I used to quite enjoy PC gaming
mm,
to a certain level, um, but I found that actually you are so often in pursuit of, getting that texture right or whatever, by tweaking your settings or getting that new graphics card or whatever it is.
More than actually
You're
playing the
not
game.
really, yeah, and you're trying to optimize your settings and your hardware for that game. Whereas you go out and you buy yourself an Xbox, PlayStation, the games are specifically made for that hardware configuration.
The
Um,
blasphemy.
Absolutely. But
Retire!
it's that balance because
Yeah,
I I love tinkering, but at the same time, sometimes you need the thing that just works.
yeah.
Um,
That you're not
and
gonna
I've got
waste
a lot of
time
history
every
with
time
that.
that you turn on the computer to play, and then you have to do three different things and activate drivers and everything.
Yeah,
Uh, shall we touch on the bolt guitars for a minute here?
sure,
Hello, Aaron. How's it going? Um,
Aaron.
so our first experience with the bolt guitars was this guitar.
Yeah,
Uh, Now, I've been told not to talk poorly of this guitar, but this guitar is not the best example of what the kit is able to produce. Even the finish, I think I've been able to get a much better feeling and looking finish uh, on this one. Even if you
okay.
discount the Relic, in terms of texture and marks. Um, Paul from the Studio Rats was saying that the yellow was very yellow. What was your experience with doing the finish? Did you like you explained it at the time, but did you polish it? Did you buff it afterwards? Did you go for matte or for the gloss?
I went for the gloss. So it is quite yellow. It is sort of a TV yellow. I think it was described that way
Yeah,
on Studio Rats as well. But you can tone it down and do different things. You can make it look more washed out. It's actually my favorite finishing system. The way it works and the finish that I was able to get, really smooth, really easy, can be done indoors.
yeah,
I've done a lot of nitro in my time. That stuff's not great on the old lungs, etc. And you get your masks and everything else. So
yeah.
um,
And
yeah,
there is spray paint everywhere, even if you do it like in a
e-
garage or in the
exactly.
garden, it gets everywhere, and then it's
Yeah.
like green or
Um,
blue
and it takes forever to cure, all,
as
all,
well.
all that stuff. Um, and so yeah, the finishing system, I really like, to the extent that I'm going to be buying more for other projects.
I,
That's a nice color.
I think they sell the whole, like a whole bunch, all the colors. I don't know. They sell all the colors, but like a pack. Because I would be
Okay.
interested in trying to mix them up as well. Like if you wanted to
Yeah,
make
so
it
that's what they
darker.
recommended. Yeah, for the shell pink, I want shell pink on. I'm not sure which guitar yet, but I've got a few
Get something.
candidates. Um, and they were saying, we'll sell you the red and the white, and you can mix your own.
Hmm.
Um, so yeah, I think that's definitely something that I'll experiment with.
And I think it opens the doors to lots of people to be able to do kits or to do their own
Yeah,
builds, because finishing is such a barrier of entry into building guitar, because you can get everything else, but then finishing is almost an art, or is it presented as being an art? Like if you have a stain, then you need to oil it. To do, you can use true oil, but true oil is also expensive. Even Danish oil is expensive, and in order to get it right, there's no real guide or support. You can't go to tool station and buy the initial and then go back to them and ask, sorry, I
yeah,
didn't quite finish my guitar properly, can you help me? Like, I have no idea what you're on about, mate. um
yeah. And there's
so
compatibility issues
yeah, as well.
always. Yeah.
Yeah,
So go.
so here, and I think, like, I have the mat. I If I was to do it, I would get um like a red gloss for the body, but then a matte for the neck,
Yeah.
you know. uh, and the matte does, if you buff it, it does become glossy to a certain extent. Uh, all right, yes, Steve has been in touch with them regarding mixing colors for a tone of purple, magenta, hot fuchsia sort of color.
Nice.
Um, we've been looking at Canva for a color science. Me and Steve, we are fascinated with colors, apparently. Um, they're releasing new colors next year using this method. Well, that will be the thing. I even messaged Bob because Little Ferris has some colors available on their thing, but they're not exactly the same. So there's no out of shelf, from shelf expression, shelf,
Off the
that you can
shelf.
buy off the shelf. That's it. Thank you. That you can buy from Little Ferris that work as the finishing that they use, because it's like blue, dark blue, red, proper red, and green. Um, so yeah, I think I like that. And they have the LP special double cuts coming out next year as well, which I think is going to be as well really cool. The kids, like, they might do a strat. I'm not bothered about the strat because I already have a strat. I have two at the moment, sort of. Uh, but the special and the offset, like a jazz master, a jaguar, a marauder, or something like that, I would really dig that.
Yeah, and it's funny because as soon as you mentioned it just then, the LP Junior type, um, my instinct was, yeah, and I'm going to get one. And I'm like,
There's
do
no
I need
doubt.
it? All these things. But
All the
I do see one in
previous
my future.
discussion
That's
out
pretty
the
cool.
window,
Yeah,
we're gonna get one.
yeah.
I need to see what I might be able to get, get rid of. I don't know. It's tricky because it's the building. It's so fun to see the codes build up and then
Yeah.
like fix issues. And I don't want to keep pestering on the same things, but I do think this relicking is so easy and so accessible to do that, and
I
it's
think one of
fixable.
the
Like
key
I showed
things
you
as
here.
well, yeah, undoing it again afterwards.
Yeah,
So you've seen mine, and I'll show it in 1 second. I've fairly significantly relicked it at the moment,
just a
although
little bit.
being careful not to do anything more permanent, keep the body shape the same,
Mm,
etc. Um, but one of the reasons that I felt comfortable doing that is I know that I can recover it.
yeah.
Should I decide to? So
Yeah,
um,
I still haven't seen it how it is at the moment.
you've seen pictures, haven't you? So
Yes.
that's fairly significant, I think,
Yeah,
in terms of a relic. Um, I still love the color. I've actually darkened the color a
that's
little
really
bit
cool.
and really like that. And I bought myself some little paint brushes to go inside the truss rods adjustment.
Good. I wanted to ask this: why are we using cloths to put this finish on and not paintbrushes?
So I think the action and you because you're smoothing as you go. I think if it was a paintbrush, you would have brush marks more. Um,
Like
it's a fairly standard
a fine.
approach with yeah.
You,
So I mean the dye I applied with I actually had some here a second ago, like a fluffy thing on the end of a
like a
metal.
sponge,
No,
a cotton
I'll
bud.
almost like that, almost like a more professional sort of cotton bud, but that sort of size.
Hmm.
And that for me works really well. Um, but then when you're oiling, etc. So this is literally Crimson Guitars Stunning Stains. I mixed my own of brown, red, and yellow.
Oh,
And I really love the color.
that's really
And then it
it
was
really pops the
the
flame. Even like
yeah.
if I hold this one, you won't be able. It doesn't. Well, it's still a little bit, but I much prefer that than this.
Yeah.
Much prefer
Um,
that.
and then yeah, it's just the tongue oil on top. And since you last saw it, um, with adding the new inlays and the sanding and everything, it's now because it was just slightly sticky. I'd maybe not
Hmm.
removed enough of it off. You need to get rid of it all. And yeah, it's really satin smooth. Um, so yeah, absolutely spot on. And then I added the copper. I don't know how I can get it to
Neck
show.
plates.
No, the
The dots that sit.
side dots, yeah.
Yes, you did.
Because what I found was the black ones I
You wouldn't
couldn't
be able to
see
see.
them once I've made it darker. Um, but yeah, so that works well. And yeah, I did make my own bolt copper plate. I happen to have the copper lying around. And as I was discussing, these screws are going to come out shortly. I'm quite
Mm.
excited because I've got the ones with the metal inserts. Give them a go. Um, and yeah, it plays really well. I've sort of tweaked it a little bit. Got the action how I want it. Um, and yeah, I mean, I'd recommend one to anyone.
And I think like at first I was a bit shell shocked with the price of like £400 for a kit. Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Yeah,
But the more I look into kits, the more that is not even a high price. There's like precision kits. Every kit is over £500. The offset kits from UK that some other guy does for the Marauders easily gets to 1,000. Guitar builds, you get a neck and a body, and it gets to £500 as well. So it's really not that much for what it is. It's not a high price at all. I
yeah,
think we just get bombarded with like what you're talking about before, like the cheapest kit on Timu, the cheapest guitar on Amazon. Uh,
yeah,
does this Harley Benton? Does this Faisley?
yeah.
Like the ones even that I've done is like, oh, this is so great for the price, and you think like, oh, I can get the whole guitar with warranty for half. Yes, but it's not a race to the bottom. Not everything is on the same sort of level of comparison. So,
Agree. And as you know, I started with sort of Harley Benton kits, and I've had quite a few different ones.
mhm.
Um, Me personally, I always do something different with them. Whether that's a different type of carve or whatever. But I think I haven't I haven't done the maths yet, but I will. Um, if you look at how much this costs, and you get everything. You even get solder. The sanding pads are really good quality.
Mhm.
Everything is just of such a good quality that I think if you add it all up, compared to even your cheap, Harley
Oh,
Bentons, etc. If you were to factor in, maybe new pickups, um, I, I, I don't think it's an expensive guitar at
new
all.
bridge, ferrules, because I think some of
Absolutely.
them. Yeah,
And
I've been looking at.
also, yeah,
Uh,
I was thinking earlier, sorry, um, of the guitars that I've built, a lot of them right this second are actually unfinished
all right, you
because
never
there's
got to
something
the.
that no, because there's just like a thing that you haven't quite fixed yet, or like I'm trying to think that one, the bridge still needs some work and it needs the headstock finishing. Um, I've got this one here. I need to make some cavity covers. I need to finish it off. There's some things that I'm not happy with. The I call it a big cat, but the blue one behind me, I changed the trem, and that isn't quite working as I would like.
Yeah,
It needs a bit more routing, etc. So yeah, I
and
think having everything there in that package works really well.
yeah, and for example, I was looking into the Harley Benton CST kits, the like PRS kits, because I was thinking of doing a single pickup, because I have a pickup lying around, so I could put just the bridge pickup and then cover the neck pickup, and
Hmm.
then paint it white with the bolt finishing system. And it's like a white PRS, which is not that common. But then the electronics have to be changed because they're not full size, or like ideally, and then the tuners are not that good. So, and then it becomes this again race to the bottom of the guitar is already cheap. I'm not putting that much money into it. I don't know if the wood is proper, so not going to buy quality stuff to put on it. I'll end up doing something as I did with the facelift, buying 10-pound tuners from AliExpress. Then they're not that good. And on top of it, I've seen several people when I was looking into this mention that the post holes were not in the right place, meaning that it was impossible to intonate. Or that the wood was of low quality, so it would splinter when like doing work on the guitar. And here, and again, we're not paid shills, unfortunately. Both, if you guys want to pay us, it will be much easier. um if you have a problem, you can always go back to them, especially if you're in the UK,
Yeah.
right? Because I think there's place that you sell, you can just like, you can actually call them if you want to, or send an email or something, and then you get an answer from a person. So yeah, I think that I'm looking forward to see what else do they do, and where it goes from here.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, very interested. And you're right. I actually have a CST just behind me, and it's actually a really nice guitar to play. Um, but again, it's like replace the pots, and then you find actually no, that pot isn't quite the right length,
Ah,
to
yes.
because of the carve.
Ah.
Um, it does, because and sometimes that's part of the experience, um, but it doesn't help you get them
No,
necessarily finished, because life gets in the way.
it's similar to, again, the Legos of, you get a Lego, you know that all the parts are going to be there now, and they even do like the bags that you can start on bag one and assemble that, and then you go back to. So you have a project for days or a week or something of assembly, especially if it's something big. And with the bolts, it seems to be like that. You get the product, and you know that everything is there. You have the videos, you have support, you have like a network that's possible to do. Everything is there. You need a soldering iron, right? And cloths,
Yeah, and you can
screwdriver,
use,
and drill, and a power drill.
yeah, you don't even need one of those. In fact, my drill happens to be right next to me. I do have a
Ah,
power drill, but I like using this. And like when you're doing side dots, you
that's
can be
much more
so,
precise.
yeah. So actually, that was a cheap purchase on Amazon, I think.
What's it called? Because
Uh,
I've thought of buying one of those, and I didn't know the name. Is it the
I
hand
will
drill
find it for
or
you.
manual drill?
I think it's a manual. See, you know me. I'm having to have a look in my Amazon now, um, and in fact, there might be people interested. So I shall find that as we go. But I love it, and it's just it's handy. It's there. whereas your drill typically is, particularly if you've got if you've got young children in the house, you typically wouldn't leave your power tools just lying around.
Yes.
So arguably you shouldn't leave any drill lying around.
Do you
But
think?
my kids are pretty sensible.
Yes, they're older now. I could put the drill bit at the end of this nail technician tool,
I think
this
you
Dremel,
absolutely could. I think you can use Dremels for drilling.
because
Um,
this my wife bought a while ago when she was training to be a nail technician. Then she got a
it's
different
a lovely
job, but
colour.
it is. I think it is.
That'd work well on frets as well.
I've used
So
this
it
for
is
the pick guard.
okay. It says pin vise hand drill bits 25.
Hand drill bit. Hand drill bit or hand power
Precision
on
hand
drill.
drill bits.
Precision hand drill bit.
Yeah, it's got a very strange name. But yeah, we can certainly share links afterwards, and I'll
I
drop
think
it to you
so.
as well.
Steve says that he's been watching the whole time, but now is with Ron Appleby. I don't know what's going on there, mate. There's something between you and YouTube that's only yourselves can sort out. But thank you for staying here. So, all right, we're almost at our last leg. I don't want to bore everyone to death on our first endeavor. Let us know if you've been enjoying, even if in the comments later, if you think this is something that we should repeat. I don't know if every week will be possible, but maybe every couple of weeks or something like that, or every 6 months. Who knows? And now we're going to try to attempt to put two things on the screen and try and go for the pick your rig for £1,000 for according to your needs, which is definitely not a thing that we saw elsewhere, and I've decided to ask Dave to do ourselves.
It sounds brand new to me. I've never seen anyone do anything like
It's
this.
an original idea. It's amazing. So spot layer spot is this okay, so all right, this is not me trying to take all the all right,
Oh, as well.
this works.
Yeah.
I just want to tell Steve, you see, this is how you run a live, mate. None of these echoey delay things with internet that stops. This is very professional affair. Even I have a monitor thingy. I'm just joking because poor Steve last time had a few troubles with his life. Let's say, bless him. I was in pain with you, brother. I was also in the shower at some point, but let's not talk about that. So this is a guitar that I was looking at. Again, I have no need for another guitar, but I really want a Jet LP style. So, okay, let's start with the amp. So I'd like to think that I'm going to pick, if I had £1,000 to spend willy-nilly. Again, like all my guitars have been burnt in the fire, insurance paid me £1,000, and I need to start again. So with the current knowledge that I have, and realistically to be able to get things, I would pursue the used market in shops and in like Reverb and eBay and Facebook Marketplace and stuff like places like that. And although I have never played this amp, I'm going to trust Shane from In the Blues that says that this is a great amp for cleans and dirty. But I wouldn't have to completely trust him because I could always go to Sheffield to pick it up and try it. So this is an Angle Thunder 50 reverb, and although it looks like a metal machine made to rock your world and burn the desert sand, it's actually a really versatile amp that does have like sparkly cleans, and if when you drive it and you choose the second channel, has a lot of crunch, so there straight away there's room to play with. Then for the guitar, I would go with the Sheer Gold Masquerader HHS, which are these bad boys, because it's like a design that is unique, and I know that's quality. There was a Shalgor Provocator, like the one that I have, that was for sale on eBay for 379 a couple of weeks ago, which is insane. But have you ever seen this guitar, Dave?
I have. I'm intrigued by them.
I haven't played one as well, but I'm going to believe that this is right. There's a pattern here. I know better now. No, but it has similar looking pickets that I know that I like. It's $4.95, but I've seen it for less, and this is in Lancaster in Promenade Music, and I'm sure that they will be able to do a more reasonable price. And there's also at Celsior Guitar in Manchester. This is not the one. And then I would like to get a Nux Cerberus that I've seen. I've used a lot of Nux effects, and they always regarded as being really good. So I have guitar, all the effects that I need, and amp. Alternatively, okay, it could be AZS Superstrats from Ibanez that are 250, a Nux Trident that is 350, and as amp sims, because I do like that bass and guitar sounds, so I think this could work out. And then to have actual sounds and still be able to gig, the most boring choice in the face of the universe, which is a Katana Mark II 50 watts 112, and that will still be less than £1,000 for these three things. How about you?
So it's interesting actually, because as we discussed, our needs are quite different. My head was also going towards the katana, but simply because I haven't actually played one. I went Spark. I've just recently started playing my Spark 40 again, and I've realised actually at more of a volume, it is a better sounding amp. The Spark Mini I find interesting in terms of just a little amp you can have wherever you go. Also use it as a speaker. I don't think I
Yeah.
ever would, but having all those patches, all that quantity of sound is something that is very useful. On the flip side of that, I like to have the two amp options. So we have the Spark there. I think you've maybe got a link to my other amp, which is behind me. This is literally, I mean, I did a trade for it, probably about £100, something like that. And it's a great amp. It does cleans, it does dirty, but I don't
Isn't
mess
it?
with it.
Isn't it what Noel Gallagher used, like in the first Oasis albums, apparently?
In the first Oasis albums, I thought that they'd used I've forgotten the brand now. I watched
With a W. I think he said
It's
it was some sort of Marshall thing like this, and some another one that was as well like really cheap.
yeah, I watched a very long interview with him that was quite interesting. But yeah, so that for me, it's just something that you can plug in, press clean or press dirty, and off you go. It sounds great. I don't think they're massively well thought of, which means they're really cheap. And I love that amp actually. It was just an impulse trade for a Squire Strat that I had that I wasn't playing, and yeah, it's there's a lot to be said for
Yeah,
having something ready to go,
that's it.
rather than the spark at one end of the thing. You just end up tweaking it and tweaking it, and then I've got pedal boards and everything. Yeah,
I thought about
just
the Spark
plug in and play.
because it's like downstairs. Like here, I have a PA speaker under the desk, which is a very normal thing to have. Uh, and then downstairs, I have the Blackstar HT5, which is only
Okay.
5 watts, but it can get really loud. It doesn't get loud enough by itself to play with the drummer, but it's too loud to play at home. It's like in this strange
Yeah.
area of sound. So I thought of like a Black Star Fly or a mini Spark or something like that to have downstairs, just to play, to practice, to put music through. It's really handy to have something like that, because on the other hand, the 12-inch speaker on something like this, it's plenty loud to actually make you feel the music.
Absolutely, and that's
What
the
up?
right balance for me. I must admit, I've got the little orange micro, I think that one's called,
All
uh,
right.
and that's pretty good for just on the sofa or whatever. But it is hard to get exactly the tone you want. It would be nice to have more presets, um, but yeah, same sort of idea.
And what about guitar?
So I've actually been changing my mind while we've been talking.
Okay. Okay, that's
Um,
fair.
so I have a qualifying question. Um, do I keep the guitars that I've currently got, or
No,
is it
everything
best to
burned.
keep those?
Everything is dust now,
Okay.
and
So
metal bits.
my original answer that I'm gonna stick with, I would have a Bolt. For the reason I enjoy playing a guitar that I have invested in not quite blood, sweat, and tears, but possibly. Um, and something that I've made my own. Um, and yeah, and I'm happy with how it's set up. They do a lot of the setup themselves. You know, ultimately a good playing guitar, and that is what I'd actually go for. I have considered just having the Bolt. Outside of that, um, I've got an itch for a Rev Star. I've never played
Ooh.
one, um, but I really want a Rev Star. Um, but yeah, most likely something telly like, or a Rev Star.
I do
If
like the
if
blue
it's if
ones.
it's one guitar, it wouldn't be a Les Paul. But I think, if you're going to have a sort of three guitar stable, a Les Paul probably has to be in it at some place.
So on top of the Rev Star, or instead of the Rev Star?
I'm gonna go with, if I'm having one guitar, it's gonna be the Bolt.
Okay. We
It's
can
gonna
we
be the
can
Bolt.
choose like a five guitar stable next time.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Uh, so just to do the math here, which I didn't do.
I
So
haven't
for
added it
mine,
up.
it was 290, 495. So that leaves me at eight 825, uh, which leaves 125. This only is like 120. Didn't I say that? Which is not this. Sorry, did it joke? £100 over budget. So probably I would have to go with this amp to go with the Nux Cerberus. And yourself, it will be 400 plus 200, so 6. And what was the other thing?
The other amp
The
is a
Marshall,
100. Yeah,
100. So 700. You still have £300
I'm
to mess
spending
around.
that though. I am spending that. So you've talked about Nux, and we've talked about our differing needs when it comes to guitars. I actually play unplugged a heck of a lot, which is one of the reasons for picking that Bolt. It sounds good acoustically, but I'm going to have a mighty plug
Okay.
within my arsenal. And also, I mean, my pick is these Sony MDR 7506s. I'm going to have some quality headphones, because with three children in the house, being able to play quietly is definitely something that's
Uh,
valuable.
are you playing quietly, or just so you don't hear them?
Well, noise cancelling
Two
is
for one.
another option. Yeah.
uh, Steve is trying to derail his here with his comments. Is I don't know if he's showing. Yes, Facelift Physica FSSSD. I don't know how many S's, which is basically this one. What I have here went on sale for £56. Well, you can't go back in time, mate. You can't. It's not like we're not selling time traveling here. And then put the rest towards the dumble. I would still. I don't think you'll be able to get a dumble for £1,000. But one man can dream. Or 300 worth of capers. Yes, that's probably there's just one capo with encrusted diamonds that is about that amount of money. In the meantime, maybe I can go back to not having this. I'm gonna change scene, as you can see. Amazing. And then we can go, although this way we can show, hey,
We have the technology.
we have the technology. When IT meets music, we're not as good at music, but we're very good at IT. And this is why you have so many IT guys that play guitar on YouTube. It's not that they're really good, it's just that they have the means to do it. And with that being said, what time is this? It is precisely 9:46, which leaves us on point to say our goodbyes. Steve says that he started with John Robson at 5 p.m. beer o'clock and hasn't stopped. Yes, this is a free lesson on live streaming. Feel free to do then the guitar lessons. Let's keep ourselves to what we know better. Okay.
Careful, that's my new guitar teacher you're speaking to.
I know. He's gonna say yes, and you just need to do this. Okay. Who's boss? I know who's boss now. The what's it called? Not authority, but leadership established. Very well. Okay. Is there anything else that you'd like to finish us off with? That sounded strange.
It did, but we'll gloss over that. Something that just came into my head is, it could be quite amusing having some live guitar lessons as a live stream where people can experience just how difficult I am to teach. So Steve, if you know anyone, we could potentially think about doing that.
We have the tech. Well, I don't have the tech. We have the technology. We have the
He
technology.
doesn't. He has the skills. We have the technology.
We might have to send the modem and the satellite to his address.
Have they got dial-up yet?
That's hard to tell. Dundee, it's so far.
Oh, Dundee. Okay, that is a long way up.
It is. But I think it went really well. The time flew by. There's always things to talk about. And it's sometimes, I think it's a matter of paying attention to what's happening in the week and taking mental notes. So it becomes not just me rambling on random stuff. He's up for it.
Yeah, that terrifies me, and I wish I'd keep my mouth shut. I also have some very nice alcohol next to me, and I am regretting several things that I've said already.
I think he should teach you a song, but that requires you to sing as well in live.
No.
So he's like, you play like a blues where you do the playing and then the singing and then the playing and then the singing.
Do you think that you can actually get minus views? Because I would
people reporting the video and like
yeah.
Which will be a great clickbait title, like I don't know what we mean, something like terrible singer tries to learn, something like that. No, that I think lessons needs to be a private affair, so there's like comfort in knowing that no one knows that. It's like rehearsals and stuff like that, although I do struggle with that. But that's a theme for another time, a subject for another time. To everyone that watched this far and that has been with us, thank you so much. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do this again, and until next time, I'll catch you around.
Thanks, all.